Recording in progress.
Very good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. So my name is Chetan Preet. I'm
Good
here.
evening, ma'am.
Very good evening. I'm here today to take you through this webinar on Montessori teacher training. So can you see my screen? Put yes
Ma'am.
in chat if you can.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, great. So, first a little bit about UP educators. We update, uplift, upkeep, upgrade, upskill the educators at UP Educators. UP Educators has academic partnerships with Google for Education, Cambridge, MEPSC Skill India, Certiport, ATHE, and STEM.org. We are one of India's leading institutes to offer such instructor-led courses. We all know that in the modern current times, we all need to, teach using modern tools like pedagogy, AI tools, innovative teaching practices, and all of these courses are offered here at UP Educators, which make us well equipped for the 21st century. We've trained 25,000 plus educators so far from 9,000 plus schools and colleges, some of which you can see on your screens, and trained teachers from around 25 countries. UP Educators is one of the largest teacher communities on social media. So I would like you all, if you prefer, to join us on Instagram, Facebook, X, LinkedIn. From time to time, UP Educators invites expert voices in education, and whoever of you are doing these courses, they get a chance to attend these sessions. These are our national teaching awardees. From time to time, I'm sure you must have heard. If not, I'll tell you, we hold international teacher Olympiads from time to time. And with these Olympiads, over 25,000 plus teachers participate in our subject-wise Olympiads organized here. Now, what kind of Olympiads are these? They are international primary teachers Olympiads, English teachers Olympiads, science teachers, maths teachers, pre-primary, and digital teachers Olympiads. And they all get a certificate like you see on your screen. Now, these Olympiads have received tremendous coverage, not only on social media, but also with the leading dailies. UP Educators has taken the initiative to be the first to, introduce the AI platform for educators. Here, we empower the teachers to teach smarter using AI. It helps them to, plan or do lesson planning, to, plan activities and games for content, questions and assignments, subject-wise tools, and board-wise. 2,000 plus educators and more have become Google certified and Microsoft certified here because we also offer these certifications. And Google certification is also a part of our Montessori teacher training. Okay. That was about UP Educators. Now let's move on to what we are here for today. Before that, would somebody like to tell me who this person is, which you see on your screen? You can speak, you can put it in chat.
Elon Musk.
Very good. Who is he? I've opened the chat for everyone. You can put it there. Anyone knows who or why is he famous? What is he famous for? Tech giant. Okay. Tesla. Very good. He's also the richest man on earth. Now, I don't know what the stats are today, but yeah, he is the richest man, if not the richest, at least one of the richest men on earth. SpaceX, yes. So, very famous guy, but why are we talking about here today? He is the richest man and one of the most or a very influential figure in the world. He's famous for, already you have given it to me, told me. He's the CEO of Tesla. He is CEO and Chief Engineer of SpaceX. In current times, you must have heard of SpaceX. Founder of the Boring Company, co-founder of Neuralink, and also the owner of Twitter, which we currently refer to as X. But why are we talking about him here today? He's famous for one more thing. Would anyone like to guess? Any guesses? What else is he famous for? Many kids studied in a Montessori school. Excellent. Brilliant people here today. Yes, he's famous for both these things. Number one, he has a very large family. He has 14 kids. And also he opened his own Montessori school, and he himself is a Montessori school. His children are Montessori school alumnus. And not only he and his family, but there are various other, famous people in this world who are Montessori alumni. The, founder of Google, co-founders of Google, and the founder of Amazon, they are also Montessori school alumnus, whose names are Jeff Bezos and Sergey Brin. So these people are also Montessori school students. Not only these, but all over the world. I'm sure you have heard of George Clooney, Princess William and Harry. They're all Montessori school. And closer home, Indira Gandhi and various Bollywood celebrities and their children. They are also Montessori school students. So that means that Montessori education has had a global expansion. It is famous all over the world. And that is one of the reasons you are all here today as well. According to the data of 2022, there were 15,763 Montessori schools spread across 154 countries. I'm sure this number has grown much bigger now. It is one of the fastest growing preschool education methods in the world. Ever since 2016, the last decade, the demand for Montessori education has really risen in India. It has exceeded a 50% growth rate. So why is this demand increasing across the world? We are going to find out about this in a little while. But before that, we need to know who is this person behind this method? Who was Maria Montessori? Does anyone know? In one line, maybe, who's Maria Montessori? Founder. Okay, move on. So, who's Maria Montessori?
Special educator.
Special educator. Or you can say she is the founder of the Montessori method. Maria Montessori was born in 1870, in August 31, 1870, in a very small province in Italy, in Ancona, in a small province of Sciarraville. Now, in 1870, when she was born here, it was a very conservative time for girls or women. And the only, suitable Italian educator founder, yes, very good. So only suitable professions for girls were considered to be teaching and nursing. So that was the time. And there are various other documented examples of how conservative a time it was. A woman could not testify in a court of law without her husband's permission. She could not even withdraw money from the bank without her husband's permission. So just to give you an idea what kind of a conservative time it was in Italy at that time. So at such a time, Maria Montessori wanted to study mathematics. And she faced a lot of resistance there. But She did eventually get admission, but then later on she decided that she wanted to study medicine and not even mathematics. Now for that she faced even more resistance. She was categorically told by the dean of the college that she would not be able to complete that project at all. So she, went through a lot, and she persisted and eventually got admission in the University of Rome, the medicine course. Now, in this process, her father was also not with her. Although he was very keen on her education, but he was also conservative as to what stream of study she should be opting for. So there, only her mother was a person who supported her. However, in spite of all that struggle and resistance, she eventually got an admission, and she became the first female doctor in Italy. At the age of 26, she passed out in 1896. Now, when she was studying medicine, she had opted for pediatrics, and her specialization was pediatrics and then psychiatry. So she could treat children with special needs as a result. However, because she was a girl student, she was not allowed to treat people in the urban areas. She could only do so in rural or slum areas. And of course, she was working with that. As a result, she was working with poor children and patients with mental disorders. Now, I'm sure you're wondering how this shift happened from medicine to education. How did she go from being a doctor to an educator? There have been many recorded incidents which tell us that Maria Montessori's observations told her that she was probably meant for something else. This is one such example of breadcrumbs. Here, when she was visiting an asylum, and she saw during lunch hour, she saw children fiddling with breadcrumbs. Now, this led her to believe that, although they were no longer hungry and, they were full, they were still fiddling on playing with breadcrumbs. That means they craved movement. And not only this, there are various other such incidents which have been recorded. Because she was a doctor, she wouldn't accept any observation without proper research. So there were various such observations which brought her to the conclusion that children, craved movement, and movement was the answer to their condition rather than any medication. And she felt that all their conditions were probably due to an impoverished environment. That was the fundamental basis of her method. So she concluded that with the right kind of materials, these young minds could be nurtured. And she felt that the method of education should focus on their sensitive periods. Meaning there are some periods in children's life when they are really focused on some certain aspects of the environment, like walking all the time. If they start walking, they walk all the time. They start talking, they talk all the time. So if they are in a need for order situation, so they like things to be put in order. So those are some sensitive periods. So she realized and recognized that the method should focus on the childhood sensitive period, meaning observe the sensitive periods and offer an environment according to their interests and needs. That was the main focus or basis of her educational method. She co-founded the orthopedic school in 1899. So she passed out in 1896. Then she was inspired by people who were working with special needs children with their sensorial apparatus. And, she observed these children for a couple of years. And also, because she realized that, this is what something within her was telling that she was meant for something else. So she went back to the University of Rome and she did more courses. She studied anthropology, physiology, philosophy, and then only she came back ready for this. So she taught children with disabilities with her hands-on sensory-based tools. Now, these special needs children showed incredible progress. In fact, when tested at par with typical or normal students, they fared almost the same or even better sometimes. So this led her to a shift from physician to educator scientist, because she felt that if these special needs children were so successful or they fared so well with these methods, then what is holding back our normal children? So now she was looking for an opportunity to work with normal children with these methods. So the key message from this discussion is that she realized that all these techniques which she had been using for her special needs children could actually benefit all children. So she was working in, in Rome itself. The family had moved to Rome from Ancona, where she was born when she was 12, because Rome offered more educational facilities and openings, and that is where she studied, medicine also in the University of Rome. So she was living in Rome. So here, she was working since she was a doctor and she was working with in the slum areas only. So she was also the director of hygiene in this slum area. So in this slum area where most families were worker class families, labor class families. So what usually happens in labor class families is both parents have to work in order to be able to put food on the table. So both the mother and father had to work. So when both mother and father go to work, what happens when young children are left unattended? There was no one to discipline them. They were left unattended. They were up to mischief all the time. They caused damage to buildings, to themselves, to others. So what happened was the authorities or the local, let's say developers, they felt that there should be someone who should take care of these children for the betterment of their society. And they also had heard that Maria Montessori was looking for such an opportunity. So what happened as a result? They approached Dr. Montessori to find a constructive way to engage these children. Dr. Montessori was such a illustrious person, and her friends were laughing at what she wanted to get into. But she was so keen to work with typical children that she readily accepted this opportunity. And that is how this became a turning point. What seemed like a social challenge, taking care of these children who were causing mischief everywhere. So this became her first opportunity, chance to fulfill her dream of working with typical children. Now the government gave her a place which was supposedly a large room, and probably there was a sturdy table and a cupboard. Nothing fancy, nothing else. That is what. And they were thinking that she was going to take care of these children, and these children would be minded and not, cause disturbance to anyone. That was the developer's only priority. So Maria Montessori, armed with her tools, she opened the first children's house in 1907 in San Lorenzo. In Italian, it is called the Casa de Bambini. Casa means house, and Bambini means children, meaning house of children. That is where the first children's house opened in Rome, in Italy. Here she brought in specially designed materials from her earlier experiments, with which she had worked with special needs children. She came with those and nothing else. She hadn't come with a method. She just brought in some tools. And many rich friends of hers gave her their expensive used toys, because they thought these were slum children. They were not exposed to all of these. So she brought in some of those toys as well, and they started this children's home. Now, the results of being here were again tremendous. The children, these slum children who had not known discipline till now, they became focused, independent, and even began reading and writing. It gave the concept of auto education. The materials were such that children could work with them on their own. So there is a famous quotation of Maria Montessori's: "The children are working as if I do not exist." That was the kind of situation. It was so popular that famous people from all over the world wanted to come and see what phenomenon was at work over here. So you can say this method was born from theory, but born not from theory, but from careful observation and proof. It is not like a usual method where, you have a method and you bring it and apply it to children. It was not like that. She came to work with children. She came to take care of children, and observing them carefully, she brought in materials. She modified things which needed modification. She removed those things which were no longer serving any purpose. She brought in things which she felt were according to the children's needs and interests. That is how the method started taking shape. She never came with a method. She just came with a few sensory tools. That is the beauty of and that is why it is still going strong. Whereas any other method, if you have, in the current fast changing world, if something lasts for 5 years, it is a big achievement. And here we have a method going strong for more than 100 years. The reason is this only, that it came with careful observation and proof, and she herself was a doctor and scientist. She never brought in anything on a whim. It was more from, with a lot of trial and error, with research. That is how she, brought in things. Now, one example I would like to give you is these children were keen to work with, these tools which she had. Now, at home, you would have seen, if some of you have young children, and if not, then you have seen children around you, nephews and nieces, or younger brothers and sisters. You would see that these children always like to play with little kitchen tools or things at home. Do you agree with me? Like playing with a katori chammach, or, roti
Yes,
belan,
ma'am.
right? And,
Yes,
mopping the floor, or running after the didis at nannies at home, or doing what they are doing, dusting, mopping, jhadu
yes,
pocha
yes.
in short.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is what they love, right? If you have vegetables lying somewhere in the kitchen, they'll take all of them down and start playing with them. If there are shoes, that they might start polishing. If there are clothes to wash, they might start, engaged, becoming engaged with that. So this is what children love to do, right? And all those, toys, the expensive toys which her friends had donated, even those slum children who had not been exposed to these toys, they also did not play with these toys. They might have been attracted for a while, but they abandoned them and were working with those things. It usually happens with us at home also, right? Children want to buy new toys. They always go out, they are attracted and fascinated by new types of things and toys and colors. They want to buy, they throw tantrums also to buy. They buy them and they bring them home, and for a day or two or some time, they will sleep with them, eat with them. But then eventually they will be abandoned and discarded, and they will go back to playing with the katori chammach and roti pen, right? Learning by doing, yes. So that is what was happening there also. So Maria Montessori she was a keen observer. She kept on observing what the children were interested in, and she kept on bringing those things only. If the children were interested in opening and closing, she brought jars and boxes to open and close. If they were interested in sorting, she brought in all sorts of materials from here and there to sort. So whatever they love to do, she gave them opportunities to do that. That is how the method kept growing. Now, India also has a role to play over here in the birth of cosmic education. Would anyone like to tell me in one line, what do you understand by the term cosmic? Or if you have any interpretation of the word cosmic, what does it mean to you? Worldwide. Yes, Supriti, children are imitating elders, certainly. Worldwide, unreal in a way, okay? Cosmic is, the term actually is taken from space, but actually cosmic means, that interpretation has been taken, but how Maria Montessori has related it to Montessori is that it is interdependence and harmony in the universe. Cosmos, yes, interconnected, very good. So interconnectedness and harmony in the universe. I'll give you a very simple example. The plants give out oxygen, which we humans need. That is their cosmic task. They're not sacrificing anything. That is their normal day, a day in their life. They give out oxygen and we consume that oxygen. Bees collect nectar, but they never consume it on themselves. Cows graze fields, of course, to satisfy their hunger, but in turn, they leave the fields fertile. Tremendous various other examples are there that of interconnectedness and harmony in the universe. It teaches children, yes, it teaches children that everything in the universe is connected and that every person, plant, animal, and object has an important role. So Maria Montessori realized that, if every living organism, this world has a cosmic task, how can humans be far behind? So our education should be such that it prepares adults. These children will grow up to be adults. So it prepares adults who are contributing useful members of society, who are interconnected, who all can live in harmony with others. So that was the aim of cosmic education. Now, India has a role to play over here. How? I'll tell you that, the method really became famous. It started in 1907, and in 2 years only, it became so popular that famous people would come to see her place. And then Montessori schools opened all over, first in Italy, and then in other parts of Europe. Okay. And in Japan, everywhere, in America, everywhere, Montessori schools opened all over the world, you can say. In 1914, Maria Montessori herself also went to America. However, of course, in these 2 decades, lot of progress happened. There were plenty of schools happening. Maria Montessori was giving teacher training sessions and courses. She would give teacher training sessions, and I mean, they would go and open in other parts of the world. That is how the method was growing. But we also know that it was the 1930s was a time of world wars. During World War II, in Italy, there was Mussolini. And Mussolini also was impressed by the Montessori method. So he wanted to use it for his own purposes, for his devious purposes. When he approached the Montessori directresses, the teachers, they refused. So when they refused, and we know what happens when you antagonize famous people, so he ordered the shutting down of all the Montessori schools. They were shut down, and in fact, Maria Montessori was considered as a alien there, and she had to flee Italy and even UK. So she came to India. So here she was housebound. She stayed here for 7 years. She came here with her son. So India welcomed her with open arms, and she has given, many training courses here also during the 7 years. She's trained over 1,500 teachers, not only in India, but in other areas, because that time India was not yet partitioned. So she has given courses in Islamabad, Karachi, Ceylon, and I mean the whole subcontinent. She lived in Kodaikanal. Here she developed the cosmic education for ages 6 to 12. So it helps children focus on what is their place in the universe. And it teaches them to be responsible, take care of living things. What is their connection to the living things? Look at the universe, the cosmos with wonder and awe. In India, she met Gandhi, Nehru, and Rabindranath Tagore. She was deeply moved by Indian spirituality and values. She herself was a spiritual person. Although she was a doctor and scientist, she was also a Catholic. And one of her uncles, her mother's brother, was a very famous person who has, who has given her. I mean, if you have such a person at home who has such values, he he was a person who was in favor of, the amalgamation of science and faith. So that is how Maria Montessori was also spiritual. She had spiritual values, and India also inspired her a lot. So she stayed here for 7 years. In 1945, Mussolini died, and Maria Montessori left India in 1946 when her fans re-invited her to London for a lecture, and from there on, more schools opened, and then the Montessori schools reopened all over the world. So she left here in 1946, and in 1948 and 49, two of her very famous books, Absorbent Mind and The Discovery of the Child, were published. So we would like to believe that, India's spirituality has had a role to play there, because those books also had spiritual values. So the key message from this discussion is that India shaped Montessori's global vision. Montessori was always for education for peace, because she had seen world wars. And world wars mean that, the current education system was not serving its purpose. So here, the adults were, competing with each other. They could not see eye to eye. There was so much competition. There was no harmony. There was jealousy. So that means the education system was not solving. So she wanted to, sort of change the path of education to one which was a tool for peace, purpose, and planetary harmony. So it was a legacy which changed the entire world. Needless to say, that's why we are all here today and discussing her. So the method, which started with marginalized children, special needs children, eventually transformed education for. And she has trained thousands of teachers across Europe, India, America. She inspired inspired a global movement all over the world. Maria Montessori was never won for awards, but her fans nominated her thrice for the got her nominated for thrice for the Nobel Peace Prize for her work on education as a tool for peace. However, she never won the Nobel Prize, but she was nominated thrice. Maria Montessori lived on till the age of 82, and she passed away in 1952 in Netherlands. After that, the baton was taken on by her son, Mario Montessori, who worked till he was 82. And then, of course, the rest of the family took it up. If you are more inclined, you can always study a family tree. So this led to the birth of Montessori education, which is a revolutionary approach to learning. I'm sure after this, you would like to know what are the differences then between traditional and Montessori teaching. Now, this is an example of traditional teaching. Nothing wrong with it. We have all been educated in that method and we are doing fine. Okay. Let's see what is going on here.
Let us have a quick recap of what we are learning, children. Yes, we are learning simple additions. What are these, children? Mangoes. And how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Correct. With one hand, I have 4 mangoes. And in the other hand, I have 4 mangoes. If I add them together, how many do I get? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes.
Okay, so nothing wrong with this method. Great method of teaching addition. However, in this method,
So what did we do?
Primarily 2 senses were engaged: hearing and sight, or visual and auditory senses. So traditional teaching methodology engages these 2 senses. How? Through lectures or reading from textbooks or listening to the teacher. So which are the 2 senses which are engaged? Auditory and visual. Now let's see the Montessori method.
What?
So what is happening here?
Tracing of numbers.
Yes. So primarily 3 senses are being engaged here. Other than auditory and visual, tactile sense is also being engaged. And more the senses are engaged, the more the learning is permanent. It becomes a part of us. It becomes a part of the child's muscular memory. It is the child's muscle memory. It happens with ourselves also. I'll give you a simple example. Now, I'm sure there are some of you who like to cook. Okay. So let's say you came across a very good recipe and you read about it. Okay. And there's another one who cooked it. Who would remember it more? The one who read it or the one who cooked it?
The one who cooked.
Right. So we learn by doing, whereby engaging the senses. So that is what Montessori also does. It is a multi-sensory way of teaching which engages the senses. And more the senses are engaged, more the experience becomes the child's own and he retains it for longer. And later on, when he learns more, advanced and complex concepts, that time these, things he has done on his own, they help him master those complex concepts also. He has not rote learned, right? The teacher didn't draw a shape on the board and say, this is a square, it has 4 sides and they are all equal. Yes, he learned it. He rote learned it. But he never understood what a square was. So unless he has experienced a square, he has seen from all sides, he has seen how he looks from here and there and all, touched it, then he knows what actually a square is. So that is what Montessori does. Naming always comes later. First, the experience. So, according to Maria Montessori, the senses are the explorers of the world and they open a way to knowledge. She also calls them the keys to the universe. So, the 5 basic senses are touch, hearing, sight, smell, and taste. And Montessori method engages all of these 5 and even some more, some sub senses are there. They are also, in fact, there are 9 senses which are engaged in the Montessori method. So, that is how the method works. And that is what the children do, they retain, they remember. What are the benefits of this kind of an approach now? So it leads to better academic performance because the concepts are retained better. Number 2, there is better long-term retention, like I already told you. The children develop empathy and interpersonal skills because when they work with things, doing something with your hands, you understand what your strengths are and your weaknesses. It leads to expressions, and you also understand how and what others are doing. So it leads to better understanding of ourselves and others. Last but not the least, very important is it develops higher order thinking skills like problem solving, decision making, logical thinking, critical thinking. Let's say the child is working with, he's pouring something from one jug to the other. Let's say he's doing dry pouring of beans from one jug to the other, or wet pouring, whatever, and it spills. Okay, now it is a problem to be solved. Now he tries to figure out how to solve that problem by picking up the spillage or wiping the spillage or whatever. Without having experienced a problem, you cannot learn how to solve it. If teacher tells you that if they spill, you pick it up, no. You may remember it for a little while, but then when you are actually doing, you will go blank what to do here. Right? But when you have worked with things and you have experiences, then you learn all of these. Now, the approach of learning is also different in both. In the traditional method, it is usually teacher-led. Teacher is the one who takes the charge and lead. It is textbook based. The pace is also textbook based and it is quite structured. Whereas here it is child-led. Not that it is not structured. Every choice in this room, which you see on the right side, is positive and constructive. If child is not working with this or that, or that, or that, every choice is good. Right? So it is exploratory and hands-on. Here, there is the same pace for the entire class. Whereas on the other side, individualized, because no 2 children can be at the same pace. Let's say you started doing the letter A with them. There are some who have, figured it out and are ready for B, but there are some who still need time for A. So you cannot have same pace for the, hence individualized pace and also readiness and also interests. They cannot be same. The teacher's role also differs. In traditional, she is an instructor and authority figure. Whereas on the other side, she is a guide and observer. Maria Montessori is given a lot of importance to observation. Not that the children doesn't have a role. She has a very important role here. In fact, more important role here, she observes the children's interests and needs. Now, that observation guides her what they are ready for, what they are doing, why they are doing. So she observes them. She's actively passive. Now, looks like a controversial and contradictory term. Actively passive means active in her observations and passive in helping them, or active mentally, passive physically. She lets them do their own work. She lets them be independent. She keeps on observing. Now, whenever she feels that the child needs her help, then she gently goes and guides, or she creates teachable moments where she can help out the children. The classroom setup is also different. In traditional, it is usually same age group, desks in rows, teacher at the front. It is a little intimidating because the furniture is such that, the children cannot freely move, otherwise they'll hurt themselves. And usually most of the social interaction they have in the entire day is during the lunch hour. Or they can probably interact with the child sitting next to them. That's it. Whereas here, there are mixed age groups, self-chosen activities. They can choose from whichever corner of the room and they can walk, move around. Because children, they are not made to sit long hours. So they will stretch, they will lie, they will get up, they will walk, they will have fatigue. So that is how they are meant to learn. Although when they grow older, they're able to do that. So it's not that these children will never be able to study like the others. So once they go to formal school, they can very well, in fact, they can do it. They are better adjusted than the others. Now, in the traditional method, there are abstract concepts in books, like I told you about the square on the board. Whereas here, there are concrete self-connecting materials which they can see, which they can touch, which they can feel, and then they lead to hands-on learning. The style of assessment also differs. In traditional, it is usually regular tests, grades, and standardized assessments. I remember in my school days, there used to be test every Monday or Tuesday. So, or the unit test month was there, so whatever. So, whereas here, it is more observational and formative because we believe that young children, especially in the early childhood, preschool years, cannot, you can't decide that Monday I'll take a test and the child may not even be in a mood for the test that day. They might not have slept well last night and be cranky, and they may not perform their best in that test. So assessments are more formative. They're continuous, consistent and continuous. Observation is given a lot of input. So observation helps the teacher assess these. It is formative. So for months, the teacher observes, she takes notes, and then she comes to some conclusion on how the children are progressing. The focus of education in the traditional method is on completion of subjects and academic achievement, whereas here it is more on holistic development. So when I say holistic development, just imagine a building. A building has 4 pillars, and even if one of the pillars is weak, building is likely to weak and crumble. Right? Similarly, a personality also has 4 pillars: physical development, mental, social, and emotional. Even if one of them is weak, the building will be weak. So the Montessori method focuses more on the child's holistic development. Now, these teaching practices are also a foundation for success in the 21st century, because many of you would have this query that yes, this method is going on strong from more than 100 years, but is it also suitable for the current times, modern times, or 21st century? I'm sure many of you would have heard either in the corporate or in some new age schools where, you hear fancy terms like the 3 C's, the 4 C's, STEM, STEAM. Have you heard?
Yes,
Have
ma'am.
you heard these terms anywhere?
Yes.
Right? So Montessori has all of these. Now, what are the 3 or 4 C's? Cooperation, collaboration, critical thinking, communication, right? Montessori has all of these. STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. The materials have all of that. So this method, which started in more than 100 years ago, and in fact, what Maria Montessori has told us about the brain development at that time, that by the age of 5, child's brain is developed 80%. So that now we are, reading in the modern books. This is a concept which is the modern psychologist and behavioral and the experts are talking about, okay, which she has given us long back. That is why the formative years are very important. So let's see how this method is also a foundation for success in the 21st century. Now, what are 21st century skills? Basically, okay, these are those skills which equip us to be suitable in this. Like all of you are, now here probably you want to upskill yourself, upgrade your, training or whatever courses you have done earlier. Now you want to upskill yourself and be equipped for teaching in the new age schools. Right? That's why or some of you might be doing it wanting to do it because you have young children and you want to explore what is Montessori for them. So basically, these skills are a set of abilities or competencies that the children need to succeed in today's world. And these prepare them for real life challenges and not plain academic knowledge. That is important. Not saying that is not. However, they also need to be ready for the real life, like problem solving, decision making, all of that. Because even if the child, did very well in their education and they got 99% marks and they got admission into great top college, and when they go out looking for a job, the job market would be looking for a person who's more rounded, rather than having just 99% marks. They want them to be a team person, right? They want them to have stamina and strength for longer working hours. So they want a rounded person. They want person who can gel with the others, who can lead and who can also be led. So for that, holistic development of the child is important. So for that, these 21st century skills. Now, what are these skills? Which skills are these? They are self-control, self-direction or autonomy, problem solving and critical thinking, creativity, socio-emotional development, collaboration and communication, global citizenship, and respect for text. Do you agree that these are the skills we need to succeed in today's world? Whichever profession we are in. Even if we are a mother also, then also we need these skills. Do you agree with me? I think mothers need these skills most of all.
Yes,
They
ma'am.
need all the skills. Yes. So let's talk about them one by one, although they are self-explanatory. Self-control. Now, the Montessori method is such that it leads to self-control. Let's see how.
To the Discovery School in Jacksonville Beach, Florida. Today we'll take a look at the day in the life of our toddler program. Arrivals in the toddler program start at 8:40 a.m. Students are walked over to the gate of the classroom by caregivers and greeted by their teachers. We offer half-day and full-day dismissal options in addition to pre-care and aftercare. Following the arrival, the students start the morning work cycle. Each toddler classroom is a Montessori environment, meaning the indoor and outdoor spaces are thoughtfully prepared for children 18 months to 3 years old, focusing on educating the whole child academically, physically, socially, and emotionally. During the work cycles, students have the freedom to independently choose activities and materials. Classroom routines and expectations are consistent, which provides the necessary structure and predictability for the students to thrive in the environment. We foster independence, social awareness, and respect through practical life activities and grace and courtesy lessons. Maria Montessori referred to the meaningful activities like caring for oneself and caring for one's environment as practical life. Dressing, washing hands and face, and using a tissue are some of the important self-care rituals toddlers practice daily. Our youngest learners practice their skills and develop a strong sense of self-worth through the immersion in an integrated curriculum that addresses cultural studies, art, science, math, practical life, sensorial experiences, language, and the development of fine and gross motor skills. Maria Montessori believed that fine motor development is linked directly to the brain. Students develop these skills
I'll be joining in a second. There was a blackout. I'm so sorry for this. So after self-control,
The Discovery School, Jacksonville Beach.
we have self-direction and autonomy, wherein the learners choose activities which are based on their own interests. They work independently and they set their own pace. Now, this whole help me do it myself approach encourages them to solve their challenges without any adult intervention, like we talked about earlier also. There is problem solving and critical thinking. Like I told, I gave you the example of the pouring. Social emotional skills, because these are mixed age classrooms. The oldest children help the younger ones and the younger help each other. In turn, the older ones strengthen their skills, and the younger ones, they learn better from their peers than from adults. Creativity is developed. Now there are limited presentations or demonstrations which are given to the children, and materials are open-ended and they are not stopped from exploring them in different ways. So this leads to development of creativity. There is collaboration and communication because of mixed age grouping, and the children are neither stopped nor forced to interact with others. So it is very spontaneous. And last but not the least is global citizenship and respect for diversity. The whole approach and the whole curriculum, especially the cosmic curriculum in the cultural subjects, it leads to diversity. The teaching materials themselves are beautiful and excellent. What do? They encourage independent learning because they have inbuilt control of error, and children can explore them and master them at their own pace and time. They will enhance their problem solving skills, refine their sensory perception, boost STEM readiness, because the materials have scope for, there are maths materials which introduce numbers, counting, arithmetic. There are science tools which encourage discovery of the world through experimentation, and so on and so forth. There is concrete to abstract learning. The materials are concrete things like some blocks, for example. So but when working with them, the children master concepts like, dimension, size, gradation, so on and so on. And they are all preparation for future careers. These are all research-based findings now. I'm not going to read out the research, but research tells us that these children outperform their peers in standardized tests. Also, in those tasks which require more executive function development, like planning, organization, flexible thinking, they have social emotional skills. And these are all statistical findings that they fare 15 to 20% higher in cognitive tests as compared to others. They have fewer behavioral traits. Now, I'm sure you would all want to know what is in it for you all. What is the benefit for those who are here today? What roles does it help you take on? Number one is it helps you get a job as a preschool teacher. Now, Montessori is, growing so fast in India that there are various schools Montessori schools are opening up, right? And you want to upskill yourself so that you get into a job in one such school. Some of them may be hybrid, but still they would want Montessori teachers. And not only that, a Montessori teacher is in fact overqualified for a normal preschool. So even if it's a school which is not Montessori, sometimes they also prefer Montessori teachers to normal ones, traditional ones. Number two, it benefits you if you're already working in a preschool and you want to upskill yourself. Let's say your school is bringing in, if not pure Montessori, but they're bringing in a Montessori lab, and you want to pitch in for that role of a Montessori expert or in charge of that lab. Then for your children, Montessori may seem it is very expensive for some of us. So there are many who do this so that they become aware of it and they can use it at home with their children. They can use this approach with their children at home. It helps you start your own Montessori preschool if you have entrepreneurial dreams, or if not a school, but an activity center or a daycare center. So the course equips you and gives you the knowledge to do all of these. To help you, how to set up the entire area from start. Let's say you get a job where they want to start a Montessori lab from the beginning. So the course equips you to start from scratch, how to set up the lab, how to bring in materials, which materials to bring in, all of that. Now, Up Educators has been running a live interactive Montessori teachers training course. In this course, we offer a comprehensive kit which helps you master the Montessori method in a hands-on manner, meaning by learning by doing, so that you gain confidence and expertise with real tools. Now, before we talk about the course and its details, I would like to give you a little demonstration of one material. Just give me a second to shift my camera and use the other camera. Can you see my table and the material? Okay. Now this is the famous pink tar, Montessori pink tar. So before giving any Montessori presentation, I would like to tell you that, a Montessori presentation has three very important steps: introduction, a demonstration, and a wind up. So to introduce or to invite the child, I'll give you a sample conversation. Usually we do our presentations during the morning hour at school. So I would say, good morning, child. How are you today? Are you interested in a new activity? When child says yes, today we are going to work with the pink cubes. Come, let me show you where they are kept. I take the child to the shelf, show him the pink cube, and also tell him where we are going to work. Usually we work on the floor. So when I go there with the child, I tell the child that these are now I've kept, for your convenience, I've kept them nearby. So these are the pink cubes, and this is how we hold a pink cube. Would you like to hold them, see? Could you please help me carry them to the work area? So both teacher and child break the cubes one by one and place them around. Teacher can indicate that you to place them. First few of them can be kept with, can be held with 2 fingers, but as they grow bigger, the child's hands are tiny, so you show them how to hold them like this. So there are 10 of them. Once we break them all and they are placed randomly, then both teacher and child sit side by side. Teacher sits on the dominant right. So once they are seated, next step is to introduce the material. So child, these are the pink cubes. We're going to work with them today and we're going to make a tower. Will you observe me carefully? And then it shall be your turn. So once the teacher has made the task, she says, let's take an aerial view. Aerial view means both the teacher and child get up and walk around and admire the tower from all 3 sides. And when they come back and she says, can you help me dismantle it? After dismantling, she says, would you like to try now? And she lets the child make the tower. Once the child has completed, then teacher again says, let's take an aerial view. So after the aerial view, then they come back and sit and she says, so today we work with the pink cubes and we made a beautiful tower. You are free to make it whenever you like. If you need any help, you may come to me. Shall we wind up now? Can you help me put them back in the shelf? Thank you. Then both teacher and child take them one by one, starting with the biggest one after dismantling. And they take it back. So right now, I'll just put them away on the side. And let's talk about what are the aims of this exercise. Now, this simple exercise has various aims. It leads to the child's holistic development. There is fine motor development, right? All hand coordination. Then, other than physical, there is mental development, like it leads to concentration and focus, development of order. Then there is, ascending and descending order, arranging the, tower from the big cube to the small one. And after that, the child can be creative and make a stair pattern out of it or make something else out of it. So creativity and imagination. And once they get it right, it leads to development. It also leads to social development, meaning children learn how the proper way of handling the things, putting them back. So patience, care of their environment. So, and intellectual development. So this simple activity leads to the child's holistic development. And of course, it refines the child's visual sense. Now, you would like to know what course options we have. So we have 2 course options and certifications. One is the Diploma in Montessori Course Completion Certificate, and the other is the Postgraduate Diploma in Course Completion Certificate. We do also have Skill India certification now, so that will be an additional certificate. Then those who do this course also get a Google certified GCE certificate. Build your resume. interview skills, portfolio development, and presentation skills. And also you are provided 100% placement assistance. Something about your faculty. I have been in this field since 2007, started my career as a preschool teacher, then went on to teacher training, and then headed a pan-India international teacher training institute, currently designing curriculum for them, training teachers, and now also mentoring up educators. And we have senior faculty who are doing the same in the, and Ms. Manju is our academic head. From time to time, we have visiting faculty. Like I told you, those who are doing these courses get a chance to attend these sessions as well. So two program variants, diploma and PG diploma. First, the diploma. It is a 4-month, actually it's a 6-month course. It's a 4-month course, plus you get 2 months to complete your pending assignments. Sometimes when you are working and you cannot do them simultaneously. So you get, in 6 months, you have to finish the whole course. So it has assignments and journal making, total 10 in number, 10 lesson plans, and you get 10 materials in your kit, viva and presentation skills. So this is the diploma course, which is 6 months. This is the outline. Montessori philosophy, how to set up a Montessori area, sociology in Montessori, psychology in Montessori, how to plan curriculum, meaning curriculum designing, and the 5 main key Montessori areas, which are the practical life, sensorial, language, mathematics, and cultural subjects. The fee for this course is 17,900, and the Montessori kit is for 15,900. The second option is the PG diploma, which is a 1-year course. Here you get 12 items in your kit and there are 15 assignments. So the layout looks like this outline. The term 1 is the same as the diploma. In the term 2, we have observation in Montessori, assessment in Montessori, involving parents and community, behavioral and learning difficulties in children, child welfare, health and safety, and calligraphy. It is a more rounded course. The fee is 24,900 for the training and 21,900 for the kit. Now, surprise, surprise, for a special offer, those who would fill their forms today and express their desire to enroll today itself, they get the kit complimentary. Meaning, instead of 33,800, you get the diploma course for 17,900, and you get the PG diploma course for 24,900. Meaning, kit becomes complimentary in both the cases. But you have to fill out the form today. If you fill today, you get a coupon code. Here are a few testimonials which you can read at your own time. They are available on our website also. Various trainees who have found these skills invaluable, and what sets the courses apart. I'm here. Okay, just give me a second. I'm going to put a link in the chat, which will take you to a form which you can fill. I'm posting a link in your chat, which there is a link in your chat. Please click on it and fill the form. This is an online course with an interactive, you know, uh, you can say classes.
Recording in progress.
Yes, Yes, this is an online course. So are you able to click on the form? If you are interested, only then you should fill it. If there is any query, please feel free to ask. Those who are filling can stay. Others are welcome to leave. And thank you for being here today and being patient. Good night. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. Is there anyone who's here who's filling? Other than a couple who have mentioned in the chat. Thank you. Okay, I'll wait for you. Okay, thank you, Rachna. Somebody will get back to you. Most welcome. Yes, Rachna, you have a query?
Yeah, good evening, ma'am.
Yes,
I
tell me.
wanted to know why do we use green color while teaching tracing? Is there any specific reason like
Green
green
color while
paper? Paper.
no, it can be other colors can also be used.
Okay,
Sandpaper numerals can be in blue color, and usually they are color coded, but no, green is not a must.
okay. Because I have two children. So one is into nursery, like just started. So
Mhm.
the teacher said that green color has some effect on their mind. So
So
that's why,
we usually have some green mats. It's a natural color,
yeah.
right? So we do use it more, but it's not that tracing can be done only on with green color.
Okay,
It
because
does have. Yes, it is a calming color. Yes,
yeah,
it is a natural color. Yes.
she's a Montessori teacher, so that's why I was
Okay,
curious to
that's
know.
wonderful. So your children go to Montessori school?
No, she's a Montessori teacher, so actually like it's a normal school, but she has a background from Montessori.
Okay.
So she said that that green color has an effect on the mind of the children. I
Yeah,
asked
they
like
are
if you can,
calming.
yeah,
There are few colors which are very popular in Montessori. Green is one of them.
okay,
Then we use a lot of wood color also.
okay,
So it is more from a natural point of view, and not just because it is green and calming. Natural colors are used more because they are more in our nature, and nature meaning even outdoors are an integral part of Montessori.
okay, okay. Thank you, ma'am. It was
Yeah.
really a wonderful session. I got a lot of information from this.
Yeah. So I hope you join and you get plenty of information in the
Yeah.
upcoming course as well.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Yeah. Any other query? Otherwise, then I'll take your leave. Good night, everyone. Bye bye. Fee for the diploma course is 17,900, and for the PG is 24,900. It will be complimented if you join today, or if you at least fill out the form today. Okay, bye bye.